Hi friends, thanks for joining me. It's Morag here and I have a layout for you using the beautiful July kits. And I'll also be using the dies, the alpha dies that were released last month. They're a fantastic investment because alphas are always really handy. And I'm taking part in this month's sketch challenge. So as you can see, the sketch has a vertical title and a panel across the middle. So I was thinking to myself, how could I do something a little bit different? And what I've done is die cut using the alpha dies, and I've die cut lots of letters. So they come in one piece and then you just pop out the letters that you need. So I've got plenty left over. And in fact, I die cut mine from some old packaging. So it's quite thick white cardstock effectively that came, some packaging with some papers. And the reason why I did this, because I wanted something with a little dimension. And you could alternatively cut out the letters several times and layer them together. So for my layout, I have picked a really long title, Dare to Live the Life That You've Always Wanted. Well, Dare to Live the Life You've Always Wanted. So I'm creating a layout about a holiday my daughter had taken where she did go on a lot of adventures. So it's just a reminder really that, you really should make the most of your life. So I spent some time spacing out the lettering so it looked fairly even, and I've taken my time then to just stick those down with glue. So ultimately I want to paint over the top of the title, so I'll get a bit of a tone on tone effect. Now in hindsight I could have painted the background first, but I kind of wanted to have the inks pool into the lettering. So either way I think would be equally as good. So I love how that has turned out. So I've managed to space out the title evenly. And I'm going to use the magicals that came in the July colour kit. And I'm using one called Dip a Toe Teal. It is the perfect teal colour, which happens to be my favourite colour apart from mint. So I think they're the same colour but just different tones of mint really. So as you can see, the magicals, if you've never used them before, come in powder form, and then you just simply mix them with water to get the coloured ink effectively. And they're called magicals because they've got slightly different pigments in them. So in the finished result, some of them have a slightly more green and others are more teal coloured. So I've painted over once, and then I had gaps where the relief was of the letters. So I'm just going back over and filling those in. So, when you have something in your mind, I think maybe I could have gone ombre. I wasn't too sure really. So I like how it turned out though. It was really simple to do. And it was a great way to use up those letters, which were, basically free. So that's fantastic. So if you're mixing up magicals, make sure you mix with plenty of ink. The more water you have, the paler they will be. So I've set that aside to dry because there's plenty of water on my background. I've put it under my mat just to flatten down a little before I carry on. So I'll get to work with the main panel from the sketch. And I've got it in my mind to use a kind of a note paper to make some layers. And I love this pattern paper because it's got teals and pinks on there. So perfect to match up with the title. So I do like a bit of distressing. So I've curled the edges and then I'll distress with the tool to just add that texture to each edge. And originally I was going to use sort of straight edges, and then I decided actually I will go a little bit more distressed and tear all my edges on that background. So I'm just matching my photo because I've got a lot of teal. I just want to offset that with some bright pink, because I think when you've got a contrasting colour, your eye's going to be drawn to that smaller contrast. So my paper has now flattened out somewhat, but I've cut the pattern papers too wide, I think, because I want more white space on the page, as per the sketch. So I'm going to have to trim those down, those background papers down, just so it's a little bit thinner and maybe a bit shorter than my original mats. So I'm just curling up those edges. I love the curled edges because then you can see what was on the back of your paper. And those title stickers, puffy stickers, I think from the main embellishment kit, are just perfect. I love the font, the colours, just pop against that teal. So I'm just using the word summer. I love layered titles. I think they look so stylish. So I'm just trimming down that background paper now, just so it doesn't occupy quite as much space. And again, tearing the bottom just so I'll have two torn edges together. So do you like to distress your edges? I kind of have phases of having distressed and not distressed, to be honest, but I'm mainly a just distressed edge person. I used to ink all my edges, but I tend to go with distressed for the time being at least. So have you seen those amazing vellum leaves in the embellishment kit? Oh my goodness, they're my favourite. We had beautiful leaves last month which were acetate, and they were just kind of general leaves. So I don't know if Kimberly's watching, but I love these. Can we have these every month? It'll make me very happy. And the embellishment kits are just so jam-packed full of different packs of embellishments. So there are die cuts, these flowers that have tags in them. Absolutely perfect again for me. I love a tag. So a great combination. And the packs are huge, absolutely huge, full of, I've not actually counted how many die cuts are in there, but there's a lot. So I've picked a couple of flowers. As per the sketch, I'm going to cluster them at the bottom. Because I like it a little dimension on my pages, I am going to just separate the leaves by cutting down to the middles. Just so that it gives me an opportunity to curl those edges, and really kind of add a tiny bit of dimension if I can. Not loads, but just enough, I think, to kind of make them look really pretty. And I'm just trying to decide, look how many chipboard pieces there are in this pack. It's like absolutely heaps. I would have emptied them into my tray, but my tray's still full from a previous project. So I'm just was limiting myself to just really seeing what I could find before having to empty out the whole packet, because there's so many. I'd have to do a lot of clearing up. So my background mat there is much bigger than the photograph as per the sketch. And because I'd got that space towards the bottom there, I thought I'd just add a little bit of twine for interest. I like the texture, I like different textures if I can on a page. And I like the softness of twine. So you could use string, crochet thread, ribbon. I think it's just having something, a different texture. So I've just pulled off some orange thread there, just to add that a little bit more of a tropical feel. So I've picked out the vellum leaves, and again, just to make sure they have a bit of texture, I've used my fingers to kind of manipulate those leaves. And I also used a kind of like a bone folder just to give them some curl. So I've picked out colours that kind of match with the background. I love orange on a summer layout, so I've picked out quite a few orange elements. And of course some of those teal colours to match the title. So I'm just curling those edges, and so I don't know about you, I've kind of arranged everything and now I've got to take it all off and hope I'll remember where I put things to glue it down. I always seem to go back in a different sequence, but I guess you can, with glue, you can just move them about before it dries solid. So those pretty tropical leaves are just gorgeous. So again, I'm using the bone folder then just to add some movement to those leaves rather than being absolutely flat. So incidentally, the glue I'm using is a Nuvo luxury glue. All the labels fallen off mine. Oh, deluxe adhesive. It does dry clear. And the reason why I use this one is because I can stick down, obviously all the papers and cardstock, but also things like fabric or acrylic. I found it sticks down everything really happily, but dries clear, which is perfect for the vellum leaves. So if you're looking to make a leaf cluster, I would recommend just overlapping everything rather than having them all separate. So you will cover up a lot of the elements, but they definitely look better once you've just got a little bit poking out, or they're kind of very layered. So one thing I like to do is to add some colour behind my elements. So creating a kind of a shadow, but just really grounding your elements to your page. So in the colour kit this month, we had a set of 3 magicals. So they're all powders and you just dilute with water. So there was a beautiful pink and then a teeny weeny bikini, which was kind of a golden yellow. So I tried out the golden yellow and it was really pretty, but in the end I decided to go back to pink. And I've diluted it with water. The more water that you add, the lighter it will be. And I was just looking for something quite subtle. So I'm using a round paintbrush. This one's a number 8 and it is my favourite. It's been abused, so it doesn't actually, it kind of bends at the end. I must just get myself a new one, I think. But I use that then just to add some little drips. And of course you could really drip things onto your page. But for me, I like the control of a paintbrush. I don't think we'll see it a lot anyway until you look really closely. So I'm just adding a few more leaves between those layers. And I love the dimension on the final layout that those leaves and flowers have given the page. A lovely tropical feel without kind of being too tropical. So my daughter had gone to Turkey for a holiday and she'd gone on an outing to see, I think it was called the Green Canyon or something. So it looked beautiful where she'd gone. So I was really proud of her for, going on these adventures. She went on, did some amazing things in Turkey. So absolutely fantastic. So just to add some more interest to the top of the page, I've cut down one of those tags from the embellishment kit. I did that chipboard there. I probably didn't, because it's quite a busy layout with that huge title. I didn't add loads of embellishments on this one. Sometimes if you add too many, I find that they compete with one another, and I prefer instead, to let those elements really shine on their own. But I'm absolutely thrilled how it's turned out, because it's just something I don't do very often. It's have a really, really long title, and it's nice to have something different on the page. So I love the textures that you get in the kits, the embellishment kit or the main kit. We'll get puffy stickers, chipboard, we've had the vellum, we've had so many different textures, which is my favourite thing. So hats off to the girls for being so creative each month. And you just remember that actually you're the only people that have these products if you're a member of the Hip Kit Club. So how fantastic is that? So if you subscribe to the main kit or to the Pocket Life kit, I think you get 10% off the other kits, which can ship with your main kit. So definitely worth adding on the embellishment kit in my book, because it has been jam-packed, with different goodies. And of course, the Pocket Life kit, you can have an option to have the stamp as well. So what's not to like about that? So just to finish things off, I'm just going to add a few white splatters to that flower cluster. I'm using some liquid white paint, which is a bit of a pain because it goes everywhere and it's quite permanent. So I've managed to get it all over my mat. It just seems to travel very far. I was a bit lazy and should have got my pizza box out to catch the splatters. So that about winds everything up. So there you have the main layout with its very long title. I adore the tropical flowers and leaves and how that's added, a real wow factor to my page. Please be sure to check out those fantastic alpha dies in the shop. They're a fantastic investment, as you can see. So if you'd like to take part in the August sketch, you can create your layout and then upload it to the Facebook group. And you've got to the end of August to take part. So thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care now. Bye.